Semiotics is a complex academic field, but can simply be defined as the study of signs, symbolism, and their communication. We see signs everywhere, and not all of them are like these here. Signs are also words, people, music. Everything has an alternate meaning. Some we associate with really bad things, and some, a lot of things. While some are just very specific. Regardless of the sign or symbol, semiotics states that it is the basic unit of communication, the smallest and quickest way of communication. A sign is in two parts. You have the signifier, like an image you see, and what is signified, what it makes you think about. For example, here's a signifier that denotes the word heart. The signifier and the word make up the sign, but you might have thought something else when you saw that image. This is called a connotation, something the whole sign signifies. These can vary depending on who you are, but most of the time, in our culture, it represents love. These connotations are very important because we derive them usually from cultural myths or narratives that our culture creates. We see images, movies, hear stories, or live these stories about love, and create a whole index of terms and connotations. So, when we see something that makes us think of love, we often subconsciously evoke these myths or narratives. A popular one for love: boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy saves girl. The image promotes the myth, not by making an explicit argument for it, but by getting you to fill in the details, like these. Now, from these myths and narratives come codes. These codes come at us when we first experience things and constantly shift and change through experience, and through our experience of other signs in relation to the sign. You love me, he loves me, there are so many codes. In terms of semiotics theorists Saussure, codes are the closest thing to affect our actions and behavior. Wedding myths create codes that affect our own lives, just like any narrative or image can affect us in other ways. Jersey Shore cool kids create Jersey Shore cool kids? If you're not sold, it's because you know that codes affect people in different ways, because they are governed by the last semiotic term, ideology, which is a code that is congruent with structures of power. Ideology defines which codes we follow. For instance, when we see a heart, we might think this, not this, regardless of who we are, because ideologies are often a false consciousness, leading us around blindly. Ideologies differ, absolutely, but it raises a debate. When is it no longer a false consciousness, but just common sense? Common sense is dangerous. It allows ideologies like man and a woman in love to hide, oppress, or snuff out other ideologies or ways of thinking. Back on track. What ideologies govern education signs in the media? If you ever ride the subway in New York, you might have seen this sign from Metropolitan College of New York. Dr. Mick Moore claims, "I teach, be the hero." Obviously here, the signifier is these words I'm looking at, and the signified is Dr. Mick teaching me how to be a hero. That word hero is very powerful here. Hero connotes soldiers killing Osama bin Laden, 9/11 firemen and policemen, heroes during the Japan tsunami, good guy lawyers, a loving father. Anything might come to mind depending on who you are, but clearly it's governed by a hero index, or the hero myth. So what are the hidden connotations about education in this sign? It gives a clue as to how these teachers think. To be a hero can be taught, and the teacher teaches a student how to be a hero at MCNY. So let's compare. The consumer is drawn in by this hero myth, saving lives, providing for the family, which generates codes. I can be the hero. Heroes are strong. All governed by an ideology this sign promotes. Having a degree in emergency and disaster management will make you a hero. All the while, it's promoting the hidden codes about education. A teacher has the power to make someone into a hero. The narrative implied here is that the student enters the class, learns how to be a hero, and then goes out and becomes one. The teacher is the expert. The student's behavior is corrected by the teacher. The ends defy the means, which promotes the ideology as told by Kleebard. It's a blueprint for what people should be like, not how the blueprint is drawn. The focus is constantly on what's waiting on the other side and how students should view, interact, and enter that side. How can students renovate the other side, or as Bobbitt might say, the 20th century task, when it is already decided for them? The term hero is already predetermined, prescribed, and created, not just by Dr. Mick, but by us, the ones who view the sign. Let us turn to Elliot Eisner's quote, "The assumption that objectives can be used as standards by which to measure achievement fails to distinguish adequately between the application of a standard and the making of a judgment." How exactly is this teacher going to determine if I am a hero? As we have seen from their marketing tactics, a hero is a very strong cultural meme. How can a hero be measured? Aren't they merely judged by society? What this is really promoting is an oppressive type of education, one where the teacher molds you into a hero. The teacher really becomes the hero. Here's one where Dr. Taloki Deepu tells you that he teaches getting ahead with a business degree. The consumer obviously sees this and thinks, cha-ching! Meanwhile, the teacher is going to teach the student everything he knows about business. Isn't there more than that to learn? The fact that he's going to teach someone to get ahead connotes that the person is probably behind. Of course, this speaks to Freire's banking method, where there is no dialogue, only the expert teacher.
I'm working for an hourly wage. I went to high school, didn't do great. Still I gotta make more cash. More education is what I'm looking at. When I get a degree, I will make a bigger salary. So now I've got to see which college is right for me. I went on the internet and found Education Connection. I took some free tests to find out my direction. I'm taking my classes online, getting my degree on my own time. Education Connection matched me with the right college for free. Get connected for free, free with Education Connection. Get connected for free, free with Education Connection. I'm working for an hourly wage. I went to high school, didn't do great.
Didn't do great, with an image of her sleeping. So we are to assume she didn't do great because she was bored, or she didn't do great because she slept the whole time. The ideology of the latter connotation is aligned with Tylerian education objectives. If you don't meet the prescribed goals of school, you'll get, according to this commercial, an undesirable hourly wage job like flipping burgers. It's not the school's fault, it's yours.
Still I gotta make more cash.
More cash? The ideology promoted here is that the goal of education is what happens after it's over. It's the education myth as exposed by John Dewey. Education is a process of living and not a preparation for future living. The school must represent present life. And I say, even after high school.
So now I've got to see which college is right for me. I went on the internet and found Education Connection. I took some free tests to find out my direction.
Philip Jackson wrote, "Adaptation to school life requires the student to become used to living under the constant condition of having his words and deeds evaluated by others. This take a test so someone else can determine your direction seems like common sense in this commercial. Meanwhile, it's promoting an ideology of management and control."
Taking my classes online, getting my degree on my own time. Education Connection matched me with the right college for free. Get connected for free, free with Education Connection. Get connected.
This is reminiscent of Maxine Green's assertion that school is viewed as a crystal palace of ideas. Get Connected here is a farce, because it's promoting to go to school and study something external from the consumer, something that's prescribed from the people in the know, the people with the answers. The whole commercial, and all of the other versions like this one, give the illusion of freedom while it's really promoting the Tylerian ideology of management and control. It's almost as if through educationconnection.com, consumers are reminded that their hourly wage job is meaningless, and that all they need to do is go back to school and fix their mistakes. Not only will they go back to school, but the website will determine an outcome for you. Because not only are you, as Michael Apple would say, de-skilled at your job, but you are de-skilled at determining how to make more money. School is the answer to your problems. There is a false sense of freedom here. The ideology of management and control is that dangerous common sense I spoke about earlier. Allowing others to maintain the social status quo by promoting set standards of living and knowledge as an ideology is the common sense we must challenge. Of course, there's also that American dream myth, which hinders us from believing we are actually being controlled and managed by the educational systems in our country. Check this out.
Hey kids, make your dreams come true. For all the things you want to do, make the most of school. A pilot needs to know his math, a mountain climber too. A singer who can't read can only hum her tune. So search for what's new. And remember kids,
if you want to be cool, stay in school.
These myths that create the codes by which we live, allowing powerful ideologies to permeate in our classrooms, are everywhere. Just the stock image of a teacher teaching a classroom, of music class activities, of anything related to school, add to narratives and myths that are reinforced by the various signs we see in this presentation. It's crucial to question our common sense, because that common sense will be with us, helping us to interpret everything even without our conscious effort to do so, whether we are walking into school or voting for change.
We've got to get our education system right. Now, typically what's happened is that there's been a debate between more money or reform. And I think we need both. In some cases...